Hi, it's Guy from Project Portfolio Office, and this is another video in our capabilities range, and this relates to timesheets. So PPO allows the ability for you to record timesheets, and we do this slightly differently from some of the other products. So based on your user access, you'll have access to the timesheet functionality on your homepage or in the top of all your pages. And by clicking on the time entries icon, it'll take you to the PPO time entries section. Very briefly, you're able to capture time obviously for yourself. Time is captured on a weekly basis. And what these graphs quickly show you is how much time you have booked over the current week, as well as over the past couple of weeks. How PPO's timesheet works, which is quite unique, is that it allows you to record time on anything. So based on the system access, I can record time, for example, on issues or risks or tasks or work items. I'm also able to record time specifically just to a project level. So in this case, to another item under the specific project. You can have certain activities that you're able to record time, and obviously this is useful when recording non-project time like leave and training and those type of things. Time can be flagged as billable or not, depending on whether these are recovered and you want to use the cost entity and bring in some of those. And then lastly, PPO allows for the approval of timesheets. By default, timesheets are sent to the project manager of the project, but that can be changed for things like non-project time, where you maybe want to get the approval done by a line manager. So in this case, the time entries can be marked for approval as well. PPO is also quite clever in that it remembers the work that you've done during the week, so it'll by default pre-populate your timesheet with items that you've updated this week. You can also look at items that you may have booked time to last week, and PPO lets you pin certain items in case it's something that you're going to come back to on a regular basis. So I've pinned this specific resource availability risk that I'm managing, and every single week on my timesheet, as long as the items I've pinned is selected, that item will pre-populate. And PPO's timesheet is really as simple as selecting the item that you want, recording the time that you want to book against that item. You can add notes if you'd like to the item, and once you finish, you're able to submit it. You can save your timesheet or submit your timesheet on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, on a weekly basis. And when you're ready for the approval, it's a simple matter of clicking select all. The timesheets where I've booked, or time entries where I've booked time to, would then be sent for approval, and that would kick off the PPO approval mechanism where that time is requested for approval. Once time is in the approval cycle, you'll see it changes to ready, and as soon as it's been approved, it'll be set to approved and or declined depending on what the feedback is from the project manager or line manager. In addition to the base functionality about setting up and recording your time entries, there's a time entry dashboard under the dashboard section that effectively allows the PMO to manage missing time, so time that hasn't been booked, total utilization, timesheets that haven't been submitted, time that hasn't been approved, and they're able to then monitor this. You can see the time spent, for example, or the missing time, for example, on a monthly basis, and you can drill down into that to see it per week. You can see the total time booked across all the different projects. I'm able to see the time entry status between timesheets that have not been submitted, awaiting approval, approved or declined, and then I'm able to drill down to a specific resource to see based on their capacity, how much time has been booked, what hasn't been submitted, and drilling down to this will take you down to the lower level of that, which would then include some of the time entry reports. We've got a number of reports: daily reports, monthly report, weekly reports. A typical weekly report would look something like this, where it would show the resource, their current job title and department, their total billable hours, non-billable hours, and you'd be able to see the specific projects the time is booked to, what item it was booked to, whether activity was selected, whether it's been approved or not, and then a short summary at the bottom in terms of the time per project, as well as the time per activity. If the timesheet capability is activated, then the time entry settings that sit under the system configuration under administrations will be applicable, and here's where you're able to indicate whether or not you allow approvals on time entries, whether or not you allow the ability to link other activities, whether default value is billable or not, and what items you're able to book time to. So currently users on this instance are able to book time to issues, risks, tasks, and work items, but I might decide to allow benefits as well as lessons, for example, and users would then be able. By changing those settings over there, users now using the time entry functionality for this specific organization will no longer have the approval mechanism that I demonstrated earlier, but they will now be able to add time to benefits as well as to lessons that have now been added. Hope this gives you a good overview of the capabilities of PPO's timesheeting, and that it's one more of the powerful functionality that PPO supports.